and a very special bird as well that we've got a live camera on.
Yes, the only aquatic songbird that we have in the UK. Any guesses? It's the one and only dipper. Here it is. And guess what it's doing? Dipping. We're not entirely sure why they dip, but quite a lot of the birds that live in this fast-flowing water environment, like wagtails, dippers and common sandpipers, do that bobbing. And here you can see one of them flying along the river. They are specially adapted in all sorts of ways, and we will have time to go into that later in the week. But here you can see one of them peeping beneath the surface. They've got little nictating membranes, like contact lenses. They pull over their eyes, which allow them to see beneath the water and protect themselves. And there you go, there's one there that's done a great job of catching what looks like a small fish, like a loach or something like that.
I like a dipper. I like a dipper, and I'm really pleased to say that we do have a live camera on a dipper's nest. It's in an interesting place. First of all, look at the nest itself. There it is. Gorgeous looking nest. But as I say, it's in an interesting position that you can't really tell quite where it is on the live camera, but have a look and you can see that it's in a drainage tunnel underneath the train line. And that drainage tunnel takes the rainwater from the moors to the river. I've got to say though, Chris, it's quite noisy under there. I mean, not only do you get the trains going over the top, but you can hear that it's quite echoey with that water. And you
not going to get flood insurance, are they?
I know, you do wonder about that, don't you? With all this rain that we've had, I wonder how much rain you'd have to have for that to actually start flooding. Let's hope not anyway, but great to have that nest. OK, let's check in on our live birds. Let's go to our dipper. Now, this is a dipper that has a very interesting nest, and it's in a storm drain and it's underneath the railway line. Very cosy nest, and you can see the female inside poking a little head out. We've been watching that nest. She's very attentive mother, likes to keep that nest nice and clean, and she takes the fecal sack out and adds it to the pollution of the river.
Fine of millions of pounds, the way things are going.
But look, this is interesting behaviour, because this is a male that comes along with food and she chases him off. Now, that seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because the male comes along normally, they would welcome them, and with food to feed not only the female, but the chicks as well. So that surprised us. And then the male comes back, she starts to accept him. The one chick, there's only one chick again, that's surprising. Wanders off again. But then he comes back with a mouth full, and listen. If you can hear that over the water, but she starts singing. And she keeps singing as he feeds that one chick. I love that mouth that's wide open, saying, feed me, feed me, feed me.
We do have a bird which occupies a similar niche here, freshwater aquatic. It's the dipper, and we introduced you to them last week. They built a nest in one of the storm drains that runs under the railway. Now, initially they had 4 eggs. The female has got 1 youngster there in that nest, but she's been enduring the attentions of a male. And when he was first coming in and we were first watching them, she repelled him at every opportunity, chased him away, leaving us wondering what was going on. Was that the male that had fertilised those eggs? Was he essentially her male, or had that male disappeared and another one arrived? Well, things have changed. Well, she's changed in her outlook, because she's now a little bit more welcoming towards that male. He's continuing to come in and feed the young in the nest. There you can see that storm drain. And look, she's displaying, but she's supplicatory to him now, not aggressive. She's saying, please, mate with me. I'm all yours. There's trouble in the message centre, though, because it's completely confused him. He doesn't know what to do. Last week, she wouldn't let him anywhere near the nest, and then started singing when he wanted to feed that single chick. And now, look, she's prostrating herself before him, leaving him bemused and confused, and he flies away. But she can't put him off. He continues to bring food in, and we do see this in dippers. If a male disappears or is chased out of the territory by a new male, the new male will go to any nests and sometimes kill the chicks to bring that female back into condition to have another clutch of eggs. Maybe too late for that, but he's certainly taken to that youngster. Maybe it's the gape there that he simply feels compelled to feed, whatever the case, whether it's his or not.
So let's go from one dome nest to another, because this one has got a chick that's also getting maybe close to thinking about leaving. This is our dipper.
Yes. I mean, wow, this dipper, this has really been an amazing nest to watch, really, because, I mean, again, this is another species that you just don't get the opportunity to really look into a nest of. I certainly don't have dippers in my garden. I can't even pretend to have the remotely likely habitat for a dipper. So it's been incredibly special, and the parents have of course kept us massively entertained with lots of different sort of submissive, aggressive behaviours, and we've been in touch with a few experts to try and find out what's been going on there, and we're still trying to get to the bottom of it because there doesn't seem to be any definitive answers. So that's been quite exciting. But furthermore, it's been the development of this little chick, which has gone from basically something that really didn't have any feathers at all to now this kind of beautiful bluish grey and white bird.
And there was a stage where we were actually worried about this chick. At the very start, there were 4 eggs in that nest, only 2 chicks hatched, and then 1 died. And we were even wondering whether the single chick was going to make it in time for us to be able to put it on the telly.
Completely. And when we were watching it and just really worried because it didn't seem it just didn't seem to be growing at all. It stayed incredibly small for such a long period of time, and then almost overnight it just turned out like this. And just grew. It was amazing.
It's a really lovely bird, and like you say, a lovely nest to look at. Dipper nests, even if you're in places where dippers are nesting, actually getting to see the nest is quite tricky because they're often wedged under bridges or in overhanging roots and things that are on riverbanks, so they're quite tricky to get to look into. This one is underneath a railway in a tunnel that is pretty inaccessible to predators, which is great for this little dipper check.
OK, I promised at the beginning that we were going to check up with our cast of characters, the ones that are left, and we haven't actually seen our dipper for a while, so let's check up on the dipper's nest. You may remember our dipper's nest was underneath the storm drain, and if we go in, we can see it in there. There was just 1 chick left in that nest, and the parents were coming in and feeding it. And that was just a couple of days old by the time we got our cameras on it. And there we go. 1 dipper is sitting on it, another one is coming in to feed it. And it being an only chick, it was doing pretty well. But look, this was very strange behaviour that we saw. We saw an adult coming, which we presumed was the male, being chased away by the female. And it had a beak full of food, so why would it do that? We were very confused. And then a little while later, this very intriguing behaviour where the female is ducking down and looking very subordinate to that male and completely letting the male go and feed the chick. All very confusing behaviour. But as I say, just 1 chick got plenty of food and grew pretty quickly, was doing extremely well. And this was it today. Look at that. They'll fledge from about 20 days, and we think ours is 20 days old now. They actually, interestingly enough, grow a lot in the first 2 weeks, and they sort of chill out the last week just sitting in the nest before they decide to leave. But yeah, who knows? I mean, we've got over an hour left, half an hour, I mean, of the programme, so we might see that live. What do you reckon? No. OK. No chance. But we have seen lots of dippers on the river. We don't know if this one is our dipper or another dipper doing what dippers do, dipping. And in fact, our chick, when it does fledge, will be able to do that exact thing, dipping and diving. They spend a lot of time, as you know, in fast-flowing water, so they're going to have to be very, very good swimmers. They're also going to have to be extremely well insulated. Very thick feathers, they've got dense feathers, relatively dense, and they spend a lot of time preening, making sure those feathers are in good condition and water resistant for the aquatic lifestyle that it will lead. They're really lovely birds to spot, and with that bright white bib, they are quite easy to spot if you're by the river.